The outlines of the woman's unhappy life emerged slowly between bouts of quiet sobbing. Rizawi came from the volatile heartland of Iraq's Sunni tribal region, the sister of two men who had joined Zarqawi's insurgent movement in the early weeks of the American occupation. One of her brothers had become a mid-level officer with AQI before being killed by US troops in the town of Fallujah. The Americans had also killed a second brother and a brother-in-law. The woman had been distraught over their deaths, and she felt a tug of obligation. According to tribal custom, Sunni Iraqis are obliged to avenge the killings of family members. The fall of 2005 brought a painful anniversary, 1 year since the first brother's death, along with the news of the first use of women as suicide bombers in the Iraqi capital. The authorities had been taken by surprise. Females were usually waved through security cordons, and their loose-fitting abayas, together with Iraqi taboos against searching women, made it easy to conceal explosives. So Rizawi volunteered. "I want to kill Americans," she told Abu Haytham, describing her pitch to the AQI contact she had met through her brothers. Zarqawi's plan would unite the unmarried Rizawi with Ali, a man she knew from her hometown as husband and wife suicide bombers, an ordinary middle-aged married couple who could walk into any public building without drawing a second look. In early November, the couple met with two other Iraqi volunteers and their AQI contact to finish preparations. Rizawi and her partner were handed fake passports identifying them as a married couple and told for the first time that they were participating in a critical mission across the border in Jordan, one that would target US and Israeli intelligence officials. They also were given a realistic-sounding cover story. They were traveling to Amman for infertility treatments to help them conceive. As a final step, they were brought before one of Zarqawi's hired clerics for a hasty and legally dubious marriage ceremony. It was done not for the couple's sake, presumably they would never leave to consummate a marriage, but to avoid violating one of Zarqawi's strict religious codes. To the Islamists, it is forbidden for a woman to travel unless accompanied by her husband or a close male relative. They waited for the Eid al-Fitr holiday with its traditional feast marking the end of Ramadan, and the next morning they began the day-long trek across the desert to Jordan. Their travel documents passed scrutiny at the border crossing. Finally, wearily, they arrived at the rented apartment arranged for them in one of Amman's predominantly Iraqi neighborhoods. The bombing was still 4 days distant. November 9, a date that Jordanians, like Europeans, abbreviate as 9/11.